Hi, I'm so happy to be here with my friend Gail. We are wanting to have another conversation about uh, the business space that we both share in LifeVantage and what it means to us. I've known Gail for a few years now. I've been with LifeVantage for about 6 years, and it's so fun to see the different types of people that come into this business and that are just, that really makes sense for them, even though they come from a wide variety of backgrounds. And so I just wanted to take a few minutes, Gail, to talk to you a little bit about your journey and your background, where you've been health wise, where you've been just kind of life wise, and what sort of brought you into this space.
Thank you so much, Celeste. It's just been a pleasure meeting you, and I appreciate you in so many ways. And that is the beauty of this business. I was never looking for a business. When before LifeVantage, I had been in geophysical engineering, engineering geology, and geophysical exploration for oil and gas. Total science nerd, not looking for a wellness business, not looking for a plan B. But basically, this business found me because we had a health crisis in our family. And the short version of that is that my daughter was really, really sick and over 20 different medical professionals, and nobody had any answers for us. We'd already changed the diet, we'd already done all these different things, and still had no answers. And she wasn't getting better. So in comes LifeVantage. I was a huge skeptic, but at the end of the day, it was like, if even half of this is true, we need this. And I'm not going to be able to keep my mouth shut, because if you have something that truly can change people's lives, like I feel like we have a moral obligation to share it, right? So I went ahead and started as a business owner, got my consultantship started, um, and I was thrilled with our results. So there are other posts that if you want to hear in more depth about what was going on, we can do that. But going back to why the business of LifeVantage, um, here's the deal. I've been through several different industries, and I think it just makes sense looking back that everybody should have a plan B. For example, I started my early career working for an oil and gas company in the 80s when everything plummeted. My entire group got laid off, and then they laid off my boss. And I was young, but it was a huge eye opener. Like, I survived that just fine, but my coworkers were in a really tough spot. They had mortgages, they had kids in college, and they were struggling. There were no jobs in oil and gas at that time, and so they had to pivot. It was really, really a huge eye opener. And this has been the story of many, many different careers that not only me, but my family and friends have had too. My next job was in um, engineering geology, very construction related. I loved my job. I would not have done it for free though. Let's just acknowledge that. I would do what we do with wellness activation and LifeVantage. I would do this for free because it is so profound. I want to throw that in there. But as much as I love my job in engineering geology, and I had a lot of growth, a lot of responsibility, it was great. That was also very cyclical. And sometimes we didn't even know if we were going to get our paychecks. I worked for a small private consulting company. And it was like, okay, can you guys wait a week or two to get your paycheck? Can you make it? I saw a lot in that industry as well. It was rough sometimes. Let's go also to some volunteer work that I did with um, youth ministry at my church. And it was a very affluent community that I was in at the time. And what I noticed is a lot of those parents were business owners. A lot of them had to travel all the time, leaving their kids home to kind of fend for themselves. It was rough on the families, and especially when economies or just certain businesses had their cycles. And I realized again at a very young age that when the money is tight, families struggle in so many ways, not just do they have a roof over their head, do they have food on the table, but just the stress around the whole family dynamic when things are tight, right? And I always felt like, gosh, if I could just figure out a way to help these families not have to worry so much about finances. Wouldn't that be awesome, right? So I just think a plan B makes a lot of sense. And if you look at what's happening in the last few years with so many different businesses, especially mom and pop businesses, locally owned businesses, they have been struggling. Forced shutdowns, lack of materials, like whatever it might be, having your own brick and mortar business can be a really tough way to go, although it can also be very rewarding. My husband is a business owner and he had to make some really tough decisions through all of that. Do I pay my employees out of my pocket? Because there's no work for a whole year. There's strikes, there are shutdowns, like another strike coming. Do I just let my employees go and have to go fend for themselves, or do I love them enough and care enough about them and what we've created here to pay out of my own pocket? You know, these are the decisions that many business owners have had to face, and unfortunately, some of them have had to shut down. So if you can come up with a good plan B, I think it just makes a lot of sense. And for me, I wasn't looking for a plan B. I just wanted our family to get healthy. But again, I figured if even half of this is true, everybody needs to hear about this. And I'm just really, really grateful that it was LifeVantage that came our way, because this community is outstanding. The people that I have met through LifeVantage care deeply about other people, and they're willing to pour into them, whether it's a wellness situation, somebody needs help in their family, or finances. Like, they're both here, they're both available. And yeah, so that's a long-winded answer to your question, but did I hit all the bases?
Oh, there's so much there and so much to talk about. You know, you look at the state of the economy, there's so much more uncertainty now than there used to be. And, you know, people um, are not only, you know, a lot of people are finding that both spouses are needing to work, you know, to bring in to support the family. And, you know, a lot of moms in particular may not want to spend time away from their kids or need some more flexibility in what they're doing. And, you know, and a lot of people are just looking for, you know, how can they bring in more flexibility, more options, you know, to that situation. And I love that, you know, the business that we're in is something that, uh, you know, can meet us where we're at and can help provide for what our needs are based on our goals and what we want to, you know, well, what we really want to accomplish. And so um, there's a lot of flexibility there. There's a lot of opportunity for growth and for you know, financial capacity. And meanwhile, you have this incredible community that is all rooting for each other, right? Like, where else, you know, I'm sure in your geoengineering fields, like, you didn't necessarily have your coworkers going, "Go, Gail, you know, like, we'll help you," or "How can we, you know, what can we do to support you in your project?" Or, you know, "What do you need?" But how, you know, like, everybody kind of does their own thing in most workspaces, um, but in our network marketing space, there's really a sense of camaraderie and just, you know, really cheering each other on that I find is so invaluable. So while we are solving, you know, the goals that we have of financial flexibility and financial impact, we're also impacting other people's health and wellness. We're, you know, lifting up our own families and we're lifting up and supporting each other. It's just such a beautiful thing.
I agree. I agree. And I would just say to anybody who's listening to this, if you If you've even thought of one other person that you could help with activation or help them with their finances, then get back to the person who invited you into this group and ask them what this might look like for you. Take a look at the different options. That's what I did. I almost passed it up. I'm so grateful I didn't pass it up. Life was crazy back then. And I'm just telling you, um, life is always going to be kind of crazy, whether you're raising kids or grandkids or running your own other, brick and mortar business or working full time, parenting. It doesn't ever seem to really settle. There's never going to be a perfect time. I would say just get in where you fit in, start learning our system, lean on the people who invited you in. We work as teams. That is part of our proven system. You're not alone. You have your own business, but you're not doing it by yourself. We have a great system in place for you. So check it out. I highly recommend it. I'm very, very grateful I did.
Yes, and I'm grateful you did as well. And I'm so grateful to be here and to be on this journey with you and others. And thank you for the conversation and for sharing your insights and experience. So we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you, Celeste. God bless.
Bye.